When we see someone successful, a billionaire, a genius, or an elite athlete, we often assume they got there because of extraordinary talent or sheer determination. We think of success as the result of personal qualities. But Malcolm Gladwell argues that's only part of the story. In his 2008 bestseller Outliers, The Story of Success, Gladwell explores why some people achieve extraordinary things while others don't. His answer? Success isn't just about intelligence or hard work. It's also about hidden advantages, timing, culture, family, and opportunity. This book challenges the myth of the self-made person and shows that success is deeply shaped by context. Welcome to 10-Minute Books, the channel where we break down the world's most powerful books into practical lessons you can absorb in just 10 minutes. Today, we're diving into Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, a fascinating look at the hidden factors behind extraordinary achievement. The core idea: success is contextual. Gladwell's central message is that success is not simply the product of intelligence and ambition. It's the result of a combination of opportunity, effort, timing, and cultural background. Outliers, those who achieve beyond the ordinary, are not just exceptional individuals. They are people whose circumstances allowed their abilities to flourish. The 10,000-hour rule. One of the most famous ideas from the book is the 10,000-hour rule. Gladwell argues that mastery of any complex skill requires about 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. He uses examples like the Beatles, who performed live over 1,200 times in Hamburg before becoming famous, and Bill Gates, who had unique early access to computers as a teenager, giving him thousands of hours of programming experience before most people had even seen a computer. But Gladwell also emphasizes that not all practice is equal. It must be deliberate, structured, challenging, and designed to push beyond comfort zones. 10,000 hours of unfocused repetition won't lead to mastery. What matters is quality of effort as much as quantity. This nuance is often missed when people cite the rule casually. It's not simply about putting in time, but about practicing with purpose, often with feedback from mentors or coaches. The role of timing. Gladwell shows how timing plays a huge role in success. For example, many of the most successful tech entrepreneurs, like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, and Paul Allen, were born between 1954 and 1956. This meant they were the right age to take advantage of the personal computer revolution in the 1970 seconds. Similarly, hockey players born earlier in the calendar year often dominate in youth leagues because they're older and more physically developed than their peers, giving them early advantages that compound over time. The importance of opportunity. Opportunities like access to resources, mentors, or unique circumstances often separate outliers from others. Bill Joy, a legendary programmer, didn't just have talent, he had access to one of the most advanced computers in the world at the University of Michigan, where he spent countless hours honing his skills. These opportunities aren't evenly distributed, but they shape who rises to the top. Cultural legacy. Another major theme is the influence of culture. Gladwell explains how cultural backgrounds shape behavior, work ethic, and communication styles. For example, he discusses how the culture of honor in the American South contributes to patterns of aggression. He also highlights how Korean Air transformed its safety record by addressing cultural communication barriers between pilots and co-pilots. Even attitudes toward hard work can be traced to cultural legacies. Rice farming, which requires constant attention and persistence, has shaped a cultural emphasis on diligence in parts of Asia. This contributes to the success of students from those regions in mathematics and education. The role of family. Gladwell also explores how family background influences opportunity. He contrasts children from wealthy families who are often taught concerted cultivation, developing skills, confidence, and connections with children from poorer families who may not have the same support. These early differences compound over time, shaping who gets access to opportunities. Practical lessons from Outliers. While much of the book highlights luck and circumstance, Gladwell's message isn't that success is pure chance. It's that opportunity and effort work together. Here are some practical takeaways. Seek environments rich with opportunity. Surround yourself with people, resources, and contexts that challenge and grow your abilities. Embrace deliberate practice. Talent is nothing without sustained, focused effort. Leverage timing. Look for industries, technologies, or movements that are on the rise and position yourself to ride the wave. Understand cultural strengths and weaknesses. Use cultural values to your advantage, but also be aware of how they might limit you. Recognize privilege and barriers. Success is easier when you acknowledge the role of context and strive to create opportunities for others. Case studies and stories. The book is packed with compelling stories. The Beatles becoming world-class performers, not overnight, but after thousands of hours playing in Hamburg. Bill Gates sneaking into a computer lab at night, accumulating rare experience that put him years ahead of his peers. Canadian hockey leagues unintentionally favouring players born earlier in the year, shaping who makes it to the professional level. Asian students excelling at math due to cultural traditions of persistence and patience rooted in rice farming. Each story highlights how success is not just individual brilliance, but opportunity meeting preparation. Criticism and balance. Some critics argue that Gladwell oversimplifies or cherry-picks stories to fit his theories. The 10,000-hour rule, for instance, is debated among researchers. Deliberate practice is important, but it's not the only factor in mastery. Still, even skeptics admit that Outliers reframed how we think about success, reminding us that opportunity, culture, and effort all matter. Modern relevance. In today's world of entrepreneurship, sports, and creativity, Outliers remains relevant. It reminds us to look beyond the myth of the lone genius and see the networks, contexts, and opportunities that make success possible. It also encourages humility. Success is never achieved in isolation. Recognizing the role of luck and context doesn't diminish hard work. It helps us appreciate the bigger picture and encourages us to create opportunities for others. Applying Outliers to your life. So what can we do with Gladwell's insights? We can't control the year we're born or the culture we inherit, but we can control how we approach opportunity. We can put ourselves in environments where practice and learning are possible, seek mentors who accelerate growth, and commit to deliberate practice instead of shallow repetition. We can also adopt a broader perspective on success. Instead of idolizing the lone genius, we can value community, context, and collaboration. And perhaps most importantly, we can create opportunities for others, leveling the playing field so that talent and effort, no matter where they come from, have a chance to thrive. The big takeaway. Outliers teaches that extraordinary success is not simply about talent or ambition. It's the result of a complex mix of opportunity, timing, culture, family, and effort. Mastery takes practice. But practice requires opportunity, and opportunity is shaped by where and when you live, who surrounds you, and the chances you're given. The question is, what opportunities are you taking advantage of today? And how can you create more for yourself and others? That was Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. broken down in under 20 minutes. Which idea resonates most with you? The 10,000-hour rule, the role of timing, or the impact of culture? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this summary, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly breakdowns of life-changing books. Thanks for watching, and remember, no one succeeds alone. Outliers are made when preparation meets opportunity.